Hey guys, Matt from Eastwood. We're here in my home garage talking about some of my favorite Eastwood products. So what I've been working on today is getting a lot of the seam welding done around the front of this Model T project that I've been working on. I finally pulled the body off and now I have a ton of seam welding to finish up on this car, and it was a lot easier to get it up on my Eastwood metal work stands so that I can kind of sit in a chair like this and work around the body. So what I'm going to show you guys today is some of my favorite tools for finishing out panels when I'm doing a lot of grinding, sanding, and just finish work on the metal work on a car. These three tools that I have right here, this one, and this guy here. I'm going to show you guys where and why these are my favorite tools and always my go-to when I'm working on finishing out metal work. So let's get started. Alright, so the first one I'm going to show you guys is a little 2-inch surface prep tool. This is a dedicated tool for basically using little 2-inch roll-lock sanding discs, or you can use the little surface conditioning or abrasive pads. But any 2-inch roll-lock type abrasive will fit into this. And I like using this, I pretty much kept this dedicated for doing finishing out seams like you see here. So I have a little 36 grit roll-lock that I have thrown on here, and what I'm going to do is work along this edge here where I've done some silicone bronze filler rod to just basically fill and blend a seam in that's already been pretty much welded from the inside, but I want to blend it all in with actual metal and not body filler. So I'm going to use this to basically sand and knock down any high spots in the weld and blend it around the corner here, and that'll give us a nice smooth edge like we've already done along the top here and basically to here. And that's kind of my first step for finishing out a panel right here. Alright, so after using the little 2-inch surface prep tool with 36 grit, I've at that point kind of roughed in all of the seams that we're going to be smoothing out on the front here. And next thing I usually do is I jump to this nice little 3-inch sander. Now the nice thing about this is it kind of has a DA function to it, so it will oscillate, as well as if you let off the pressure a little bit, it will spin and take a little more material off. The other thing I like about this sander is it has a speed adjustment on the top here. So it's not underneath or at the trigger where you will bump that switch. It's right there on top, which is nice for making the changes on the fly. And what I usually do is this has a Velcro pad on it. So I usually run an 80 grit on here or a 60 grit, and I will go through and kind of start blending in all the spot welds, all the seams, get any of those little ridges where you welded everything together. Try and get those blended all in with using this sander. It works really well, and because it does have just a little 3-inch pad, we're able to get into these tight areas and not dig or take material off of the areas surrounding it. So that was the next one that I'm going to be using. Alright, so after using the little 3-inch sander, I kind of have all of the areas blended in really nicely at that point. And then what I do is I usually take my 6-inch DA. Now I like using a palm DA over a big, larger handheld DA that's going to take 2 hands. I like using the palm DA because you can get in and work areas a little easier. We can still get in some of these tight areas a little bit with this, which is nice. But we also can kind of blend in and do the whole entire large panel and blend everything together at that point. Usually with this, at this point, I'll run with 80 grit and then work my way up as needed. But today I'm just going to be leaving this at 80 grit. Now, a couple of nice features about this 6-inch palm DA that I really like over some of the other ones I've had in the past. It has the exhaust on it that you can actually rotate the exhaust. I don't know how many times I've used the Palm DA where it seems like it's shooting the cold air from the exhaust, it's going right up your shirt, or it's going into your face, or it's going right onto your workpiece. And if you have a air compressor that doesn't have the greatest moisture separator or dryer, you will start to get moisture actually on your panel, which you do not want. So that's a nice feature that you can turn the exhaust whichever angle that you want. The other nice thing is, like that little 3-inch sander, the speed adjustment is kind of out of the way so that you don't hit it while you're working. So this has the speed adjustment on the bottom there, which you can adjust really easy with this switch, but it's not something that you will generally hit by accident because you have to actually flip it over and get your hand in there. So that's a nice little feature. Now this uses the sticky back PSA paper with this, which is nice for making quick swaps of paper, and you can get those in the roll that we have available on the website. Alright, so after a little bit of work, I got the whole entire firewall and cowl section all kind of blended together using those 3 different sanders. I always use that combination of those sanders to dress up work after doing a ton of welding and metal work. The 3 of them together works really nice to get into the tight areas and then also cover big areas and smooth everything out so that you're ready for doing your actual body work where you're going to be adding lead or doing plastic body filler. That's all I have for this one. If you want to learn more about the products that you saw in this video, you can click the link down below, or you can visit eastwood.com to get the tools you need to do the job right.